Send messages. Got it. All right. Moose, what are you doing, boy? Hey guys, well, it's a little. I guess we're on YouTube Live here. I've done one of these in a while, and I thought I would. I'm basically. My son has a soccer practice. I'm here on Whidbey Island, or no, not Whidbey Island, Mercer Island. He's got soccer practice, and I've got an hour to kill. And anyway, thought I'd say hi to you guys. Hope everybody's doing well. I'll just kind of answer questions and see how things are going. It's good to see all the folks here. Looks like I can read some of these things. I've got Maximus. I don't know if you see him in there. He's in the back with me, and Sasha's back there too. So we're just hanging out in the truck on the side of the road. I've got some decent internet signal where I'm at here. Got different people from Dinuba, California. I've never heard of Dinuba, California. That's Namsang or something like that. 67. Meatheads forever, they say. Hey, did you guys see the folks at PETA? I think I put a video on that this morning. PETA saying, eating meat is not manly, it's moronic. And, of course, as someone who eats a lot of meat, I kind of beg to differ on that. And I don't necessarily think it's manly. It's womanly, too. I mean, I think all people should be eating plenty of meat. Keeps us sane. Dave, hi from San Francisco. Jeff Cash, must be West. Sun is still up. Yeah, it is. It's about almost 7 p.m. here and up in the West Coast. So yeah, sun's still up. International Health Coach says, hey, what's going on? Hello, Doc from Jim Lee. Tracy Kinsey says, Mr. Lives. The Italian gone carnivore. Hey, Dr. Baker, you are a blessing. Thanks for being here. Greetings from PA. I was going to say Italian because I was in Italy. A few weeks ago. I was in Rome airport, and so I stopped and had what did I have there? I had some buffalo mozzarella, and I had a steak while I was in the airport there in Rome, and it was for an airport food, it wasn't bad. But you guys saw the little. I've been doing a little. So let me know what you guys think. I'm doing a little bit more, trying to and I don't have my good microphone with me here, but I mean I've got a better microphone so I can do a little more stuff around the kitchen, maybe around the gym. Let me know what you guys want to see, what you want to see on the channel, so I can kind of add to that. Can we add spices to the meat? It says Harkaranavir Singh. That sounds like I think that sounds like maybe an Indian name, but yeah, you can spice in meat. Well, here's the deal on this. Here's the deal on spices. Most people are going to be fine with spices, right? But however, there are some people, and a decent amount of people that are going to have trouble with various spices and things like that. And those people, you kind of have to figure that thing out. But I mean, I think honestly, if you're like, let's say you want to do carnivore or something close to it, and you want to, put some spice. In India's got some wonderful spices, right? Indian food. I mean, you want to use some of these different spices, and you lower the carbohydrate content, and you get out all the, the seed oil, processy stuff, and you just do fine. And you're like, hey, I feel great. Been good for you. Keep the spices in. But if you're like, yeah, I still got a little bit of stomach stuff, I still got a little bit of aches and pains, that's when you start playing with that stuff. That's when you lower it out. Now, for some people, it's like, hey, I just want to just cut to the chase and get it done, and I'm just going to go cold turkey, beef, salt, and water, or something like that, which is pretty much how I eat for the most of the time. In that situation, you go 3 months pure carnivore, see what happens, see how you do, and then you can maybe add some things back in. That's another way to do it. But I think coming from a very varied diet and then going to straight beef and salt is tough for a lot of people. I readily understand that. So, and many people don't need to do that. And that's That's a good thing. You know, somebody's asking, you know, there's an interesting sort of comparison. It was like, well, there's so many vegans that quit. You know, so many vegans that just give up. And they're like, well, how come there's not so many carnivores? And they're like, well, we don't think there's going to be a lot of people that stay strict 100% carnivore. And I agree. The difference with that is that veganism is a religious ideology. It really is. I'll say it's not a diet. It's a way of thinking. It's a lifestyle. And if you eat an egg or a scallop, oh my God, you're a horrible person. How dare you do this to the animals, right? That's the difference. Whereas carnivore, if somebody has a couple blueberries or some friggin', oregano on their whatever, I mean, it doesn't matter that much. It's not that big of a deal. And so you're going to have less people that feel like I have to do this rigid, absolute thing because it's an ideology. And if I don't, the oregano plants are going to suffer. It's not that. I mean, there's some people that will want to stay very strict because of their health reasons. You know, I know if I eat oregano, I'm just throwing this out on you know, as a example. If I eat oregano, then I'm going to have some sort of, I don't know, reaction of some sort. So that's the difference there. And for the people that don't have that, I think there's no reason to be super, super strict. But I think you need to be aware of that. And I think that's really the difference there. So I don't think we'll see the veganesque sort of religious ideology. At least I hope it doesn't. And it's kind of funny. I mean, I swear to you guys, I'm on social media and I see some people that have carnivore accounts and some carnivore accounts. And I think some of it's almost like controlled opposition because some of the things they say are just like, you got to be kidding me, man. You sound like a crazy person, right? So I try to, you know, I don't know, anybody's followed me a while. I try to take kind of a relatively conservative approach. I totally support people that want to be strictly carnivore. I totally get it. I think it's great for a lot of people. But at the same time, it's not like a religion to me, right? So hopefully you guys get that. All right, let me go back to some more questions on here. Hey, from Louisville, Kentucky, says Garnetta Smith. Good to see you, Garnetta. Okay. Terry says, I've done carnivore for 3 months. I've only lost 4 kilograms. Why? Doing lion now. Terry, I don't know why. I mean, there's a lot of reasons why I could speculate that. I mean, you could be eating too much. I mean, I don't know. I mean, that's probably that could be the easiest thing. I mean, that's one thing. I mean, it might not be that, but I mean, hard to say. I mean, and I will just say, like I said, if anybody wants to like really get into like all the nuances, I do still do personal consults. I do, you know, I've got an hour a day I dedicate every day for 30-minute consults. That you can access that through. I think I have a bio. I think, isn't there like a bio or something in my YouTube description? There might be. Anyway, you can link it to there. You can go to Carnivore.diet, or I think you can do that if you want. So I'm happy to chat. And I have, I have great, I have just really, really fun. You know, it's kind of funny. It was a guy I talked to today, and I talked to him before, and I've talked to his son. He's got everybody in his office is on carnivore, and they're doing great. He just wanted to follow up and ask him stuff. But he said he saw his wife just won't do carnivore, but I did a video a while back. It was like 5 nutrients that carnivore diet provides that helps with depression. And it was, like carnitine, carnosine, some of the other ones, zinc or something like that. And she followed the video, and while she won't go carnivore, she was making sure she would get more of those nutrients. And guess what? Her depression has gotten better significantly. So it's cool. I mean, it's, like I said, everybody has to do, little by little. Chris Duthie. Hey, from Australia. Good to see you down in Australia. I'd love to get down there sometime. Praveen Reddy says, hey, doctor. Good to see you, Praveen. And Mitzi Champion from Northern Virginia. Sataya Khalsa from Phoenix. And Jude, and I apologize for anybody's name I'd jack up. I'm sorry. I don't mean to. I'm doing the best I can. I used to, as a physician, when I was practicing as a physician, I'd kind of pride myself on generally pronouncing people's names correctly, but every once in a while you make a mistake. Just try. Danny DeSilva saying, what's up? And Tracy Kinsell saying hi from South Texas. I wonder what part of South Texas you're in. I grew up in Lake Jackson, Texas, which is kind of South Texas. It's not quite down near Brownsville, but it's, it's south-ish, I guess, on the coast there. And so near Freeport, Surfside Beach, that type of stuff. So I'd love to hear where you're from. Kurt says, no one's going to call you a moron, Doc, unless they are a moron. Oh, man, I get called everything. I get called every name in the book. I don't really care. It doesn't bother me. I mean, I'm not like, whatever. I mean, this is a thing. I mean, I don't care who you are. You could be the friggin' Dalai Lama, or whatever. What's her name? What was the gal's name? Mother Teresa, right? Super nice person. There's still gonna be people that are calling just for the hell of it. They just like to hear themselves, do things. Take your seatbelt off and stay a while. I'm here. I'm just sitting on the side of the road. I just pull over. A lot of cars driving by me. I'm sitting across from I don't know what it is. It looks like it's a little horse stables or something like that. So, less junk, more health. Hi from Florida. That's right. That sounds like a good one. That's right. I mean, and this is the thing. It really is. I mean, if you guys look at that, did you see? I mean, there was a thing in the Veg News. It's kind of like vegan propaganda stuff, but there was like, they're literally out there proudly on the front cover of their website talking about how you can do an ultra-processed diet and be healthy as long as it's mostly vegan, based on some nonsense USDA study. Can you imagine like saying that with a straight face? Oh, you can just eat a bunch of ultra-processed food and it's healthy for you. I mean, it's total garbage. We know it's awful, right? And yet there's people that and I really think that is the crux of this. This whole plant-based movement is not about veganism. It's not about saving the animals. It's not about health. It's just literally to move more product, to move more cheap product out there. Broski Bear, Dr. Baker's inspiration. Well, thank you, man. Hopefully, I want all you guys to be inspirations for the people around you, because this is how we change. This is how we change things, right? It's kind of, oh, look, wow, I must have dyed my hair. It's kind of funny that the vegans are out there like, you dye your hair, because right now, like, it's dark out, so my hair looks dark. And then if you look at my video from this morning, it looked light. And it's just kind of funny, it's just like, it's because it's like, it's the lighting, and people don't seem to, I literally have no interest in dyeing my hair. I'm too lazy. I don't care about that stuff. And so, I mean, I've got maybe a little bit of gray on the sides. I'm almost 60 years old, but I'm just not going gray, or not much anyway, which is good. And maybe that's carnivore, maybe it's something else, maybe it's just genetics, who knows. But for the record, I don't dye my hair. Cooking videos are nice. Yeah, I'll try to find, there's, I'm like, people like, do some cooking videos. I'm like, well, I just cook steaks. So I don't know, maybe I can find some. I'll try to make it more interesting, something like that. There's a squirrel crawling down the tree right down from me. I would hate to have to eat squirrels, if that were my main source of food. I'd do it if I had to. I'd probably be more inclined to eat vegans, though, to be honest. But anyway. Roxanne says you like the kitchen video. My sister is I'm saying 60. My sister is constipated. How she is not a carnivore. How she is not a carnivore. How do you think I can help her? Better yet, how can you help? How can I help? I don't know your sister. It's interesting. In all seriousness, there is a really nice paper that I've talked about many times. There's other people have talked about it on chronic constipation, and it's actually a published literature paper, and it shows that people that remove fiber from their diet have the best result. And that's literally a scientific paper that's out there showing that for people that have chronic constipation, that may be one of the most efficacious way to treat that. So, I mean, and again, like as I mentioned, consultation. If somebody wants direct help, they want me to, I'm happy to do that. What do you think about me lifting 130 pounds on my barbell, doing about 40 pull-ups on my pull-up bar, lifting 22 to 25 pound hand weight push-ups daily, gaining that muscle weight 125 instead of 125.7? Jennifer. So the question is, what do I think about doing that? I mean, those are great. I mean, those are great stuff. I mean, I'm just, like I said, is that the optimal workout for, bodybuilding? Perhaps not. I mean, but I mean, I don't know what your goals are and what your, trying to achieve there. I mean, I'm happy that people just getting stronger. Like I said, 5'7", 125. I mean, that's solid weight. It sounds like. I mean, without much more detail, do I ever eat bread not preserved? Bread not preserved. I'm not sure what that actually is, but I generally just don't eat bread. I mean, like I said, I don't do that. There's a question from Plant Sparing Carnivore. So this is like a A20 something. My friend is homozygous hemochromatosis gene carrier but he doesn't have the disease. Iron studies normal except ferritin 300. Any advice for him to safely do the carnivore diet as he's also hypertensive and diabetic? Yeah, that's a great question. Okay, so 300 ferritin is, I mean, it's not that high, and depending on what lab you're looking at, under 400 is considered normal, right? Ferritin is a storage form, one of the storage forms of iron in our body, and it's primarily regulated on the absorption side. As a guy, you can't really get rid of much iron. When the iron accumulates, it's hard to get rid of. That's why people recommend blood donations. Women, because they menstruate, they tend to lose a little bit more blood, every month, and so they don't need to worry about it as much as men might. Excessive iron, if it, stores in the liver and the pancreas, other organs can cause problems, such as things like diabetes and things like that. However, the thing about iron storage and the way we handle iron in our body is it is controlled by this hormone called hepcidin. Now, hepcidin is secreted by the liver, and it acts on the cells, the so-called enterocytes, or those cells that line our, gastrointestinal tract. These enterocytes will absorb iron or not, depending upon how much hepcidin is active. And hepcidin is also under the influence of insulin. And so when you're insulin resistant or you're insulin hypersecreting or whatever, it changes the hepcidin, which leads to increasing iron storage. So what I would say is the biggest concern for me in people, whether they have hemochromatosis or not, is really their metabolic health status. And so if they're overweight, if they're diabetic, you got to fix that. How do you fix that? Well, you got to lose weight. You got to get in shape. You got to get metabolically healthy. Carnivore diet, even though it's high in iron, iron consumption, can often fix those things so that it becomes a non-issue. So initially, they might see a bump in the iron because they're still metabolically unhealthy. But as they presumably get healthier, they lose the excess weight. They stop eating the garbage. They start to see, they get leaner and leaner. Their inflammation goes down. Hypertension improves, diabetes improves, and then I think overall iron handling will improve. So that's my thoughts on that. So hopefully that's helpful there, plant-sparing carnivore. Thanks for the question. All right, let's see if I can go to another question here now. So, all right. Here's another one. This is 5. Italian Gongar, like everybody's carnivore names. I'm at goal weight, down 188 pounds. So you've either lost 188 pounds or you're at 180 pounds. Doc says knee replacement necessary. Embryo stem research looks good. Your thoughts? Don't want knee carpentry. So here's what I would say. Does your knee hurt? That's question number one. How old are you? How much deformity do you have? As an orthopedic surgeon, I mean, the criteria, the main criteria for a knee replacement were, number one, pain, and 2, deformity. I mean, those are probably the major reasons why I would consider somebody as a good candidate for a knee replacement. Now, often when people lose weight, get metabolically healthy, maybe they go carnivore, low carb, keto, or something like that, their knee pain largely goes away. And so if you have minimal to no pain and you don't have any significant deformity, then I would say just leave me the hell alone. That's what I would say. It was me. Again, I don't know your full situation, but if you're like, hey, I just got a little bit of pain, I would probably avoid a knee replacement. I mean, again, I don't know all about you. I mean, if you have significant deformity, like, a lot of people have these really bad either varus or valgus knees where they're either really bow-legged or really knock-kneed really, really bad. That's a tough one. I mean, that's a tough one because you want to straighten that thing out. And the best way to do that, and, depending on your age, you can do an osteotomy where you actually, you hack a hunk out of the femur or the tibia and you twist it, you bend it around. And that's one option if you're a young person. But most of the time, a knee replacement is an easy way to do that because you can just cut the angles on the end of the bones and you can make that square up pretty well. But like I said, depending upon how bad things are, that's how I would address it. But if you got minimal pain and you got good alignment, you got reasonable range of motion, leave it alone, man. That's what I would do if it was me. So anyway. All right, what else we got here? Chef Shawn, yeah, I like that. I'm the chef. Andre Fraser, may I ask your opinion about on a 5x5 workout program? Do you think it's good? 5x5 workout program. It can be. I mean, it could. I don't know exactly which 5x5 workout you're referring to. I think depending upon, I mean, I mean, a lot of the programs out there, whether it's 5-3-1 or starting strength, or I used to do a German volume program, which was kind of a 3x3 program. I used to do. Stephen Court from Germany wrote that back when I was powerlifting, and it got me to damn near an 800-pound deadlift that way, and that was pretty good for me. But I think the main thing is if you're consistent in your training. I mean, if you're relatively novice, you consistently train for 3 or 4 years, you're going to get great results. I mean, you really are. And that's really the end of it. I mean, that's the gist of it. Now, what is your exact goal? What is your training age? I've been at this stuff for almost 45 years I've been training. So, I know how to train myself. I know what kind of results I'm going to get. And, my goals at this point are not to be the biggest or the bodybuilder or any of those types of things. It's more, I mean, I want to say generally fit and healthy and, have a decent amount of muscle mass and be decently strong and decently fit and decently flexible and can move well. And then, of course, I'm doing this jiu-jitsu stuff. And so those are my training sort of priorities these days. And right now, because I hurt my neck a little bit in jiu-jitsu, so I kind of rehab that a little bit so I can, strengthen my neck. But, that's other people have different goals, and I don't know what your goals are specifically. But I mean, one thing I will say is consistency over time is the best thing. We got Charger Mopar, the 40-year carnivore. Bread is duck food. Oh yeah, okay. There he is. That's right. The type of things in Florida these days. Yeah, I remember bread is duck food. It's interesting. If you look into the etymology of a language, and you go back into some of the Scandinavian language, I think it was like maybe early Finland. Their language, like the base roots, meat or something close, met or something like it was the word for meat meant food, right? The word for grain was literally translated as deer food, right? This is what we feed the deer. So it wasn't really considered human food. So there was like meat and there was like honey, and then there was like deer food, which was grain, which was kind of interesting. All right, we got another little thing here. Italian on carnivore, follow-up answer. I'm 51, I lost 188 pounds. Knee gets stiff, I don't bend it much when I walk. No deformity, redness, and inflammation gone with carnivore. I mean, again, like I said, if as a surgeon, and I did lots of knee replacements, I mean, what I'm looking for, if I can benefit somebody, I mean, if it's like you got a little bit of pain and you're not, how much am I going to benefit you? Because there are definitely potential complications to a knee replacement. You can make somebody worse, and you sure as hell don't want that. And there's no like reverse. You can't turn it around. Once you cut the end of your bones off, they're gone forever. It's not coming back. It's not growing back. At least not in maybe in 20 years or 50 years we can figure out how to grow. I mean, that's something they maybe, someday we might have biologic knee replacements. I mean, I know people are working on that, but for now, and I don't know how, you said 51, so you're still pretty young. If it was me, and I don't know all your details, but I would, you've lost 188 pounds. I don't know if you're at your goal weight, maybe you have more to lose, whatever. Get at your goal weight, work on strengthening the knee. See what you can maximize with non-operative stuff, and then see where you are. See where you are from a functional standpoint, from a pain standpoint, from a quality of life standpoint, and then make a decision. Because if you've got get stiff when I don't bend it much when I walk. It's one of those things where you got to kind of have to figure out how much can you improve, and that's really the question. If you're like, if your function is like 8 out of 10, I mean, it's a crapshoot if I'm going to get you to 10 out of 10. Probably I won't. Maybe I can get that to an 8.5 out of 10. But if you're like 2 out of 10, I might be able to bring you up to a 6, right? And so that's that's really kind of the deal there on that. Am I the only one who does not spice or salt his meat? This is Charger Mopar. Rich Rodriguez, I think, if I remember. Rich or Rick, I can't remember if it was Rick or Rich. Sorry, man. No, I mean, there are other people that do not salt their meat. I know there's several carnivores that don't. And so I think people like, who is it? I'm trying to like Amber Hearn might not. I think Charles Washington stopped doing that a while ago. Who's Dana Schulte might not be doing it. There's several out there. All right, Tracy Kinsel, yes, like the more personal videos, really miss your fairy tales. Okay, when you were always on the ferry boat. Yeah, I mean, I just hop on there because as you guys remember, I'm here in Washington State now, so when I was living on Whidbey Island and having to take the ferry across quite a bit, it's always like sometimes an hour wait, or and you just sit there stuck, and you're like, what the hell am I going to do? I might as well hop on YouTube and chat or do a video or something like that. So, let's see. Steak and Butter Girl doesn't salt or season her meat. Yeah, so I guess, yeah, so Bella, she actually lives probably 15 minutes from her house right now, I think. Let's see, we got Greg Stubbs made a 21-pound brisket. That's a big old brisket in the oven this weekend. For the first time, was delicious, plenty of fat, satiated the rest of the day. Well, if you had a 21-pound brisket, man, I hope you were not. And I say that kind of jokingly, but there is, you guys know Molly Schuyler, who I interviewed for several years. She's a competitive fooder. She ate a 22.5-pound prime rib in one setting, and they ran out of meat. She just cleaned them out. She could have eaten more, which is kind of amazing. So it is possible. However, I doubt you probably ate the whole 21-pound brisket. Now, it sounds like, I mean, if you got like a big old packer brisket and didn't trim it, there'd be a lot of fat on that, and it might be. So most people, when they get a brisket, they'll trim some of that excess fat on there, but here's a question for you guys. So I'm talking to a rancher. This guy's named Jim Herzog. He's down in Missouri. He wants me to fly out and check out his facility. Good guy. I mean, I love helping ranchers out, and I they help us out. They feed us, man. So I love just talking to these dudes. I'll show you another story that I should tell you guys about. But so he's telling me about he's upgrading his operation, and he's got great supply of beef, different great cattle. And he can cut it, like he's got this newfangled machine where he can just cut it like in all these different interesting ways. He's talking to me, hey, do you think you would have people that might be interested in this? And I said, Jim, let me ask you a question, because a lot of times, a lot of us carnivore people really struggle to get like quality fat in our diet in some cases, because everything you go to the butcher and they're always trimming all the fat off. And I said, can you cut some steaks like ribeyes and things like that where you just don't trim quite as much fat off there? And he goes, oh, hell yeah, we can do that. So I said, well, let's just see if maybe we can do like a keto version. Like this could be a keto cut. This is a keto cut ribeye, or, because you can do, prime, USDA prime, or you can get the extra marbling, or you can leave a little more of that trim on there that you normally trim off, and that type of thing. I said, well, let me just see how the people would respond to that, because I think there might be a market for that, because I want to help these guys out. I want them to be successful. I want our ranchers, direct-to-consumer ranchers, to grow and be successful. And because we got to keep them in business, guys. It's so important, because that's the thing. So anyway, I'm just see what will happen when we do that. So hopefully we get some feedback. Hey, does that sound like a good idea or not? We have a hard time finding different things to make. It is not boring so in our house, but I could use some more recipes, ideas for carnivores. This says Steve daughter. Well, okay, I'll try. I'm not the guy that typically makes all these creative stuff. I mean, I've done them occasionally, but I honestly, I'm like, give me a ribeye steak, throw a little salt on it, and I'm good. That's generally me. But I can do some of these other things, if it helps you guys out. Glen P, carnivore is definitely the way to go. Blueberries are vegetables, man. I don't know if blueberries are vegetables, but anyway, interesting. What else we got? Grigory Rasputin. Veganism is good for Brandon voters. There you go. Jennifer, Texas carnivore. My weight is now 125 instead of 120, like in May. Success gaining muscle weight on workout for 5 days. Well, good for you. I think muscle is gold, in my view. I mean, like I said, I think having muscle is so incredibly importantly. You don't have to be like bodybuilder, like steroid out, whatever. I mean, you just got to have a decent amount of lean mass, be in the top 25% of your age category. And I think you're in a good place with that. Or today, the way things going, you might want to be in the top 10% because the top 20, if you're average, you're like, you really suck. I mean, so it's unfortunate we have such a bad sort of place right now. All right, what else we got? I'm cooking meat and veggie stews for friends. Transition to carnivore. He's loving it. Awesome, man. What's your opinion on sprouted bread, Doc? It's not something I eat. I don't, like I said, I mean, arguably it's better than some other types of bread, I suppose. I mean, I think sprouts in general are good to feed animals. Let's say that, I cheat with spices. I'm pretty much strict carnivore. I cheat with, is that cheating or not? Who knows? I'm not like I said, if you got, if any of you guys have bought my book, right? Some of you guys have bought my book. If you look on the cover, there is a picture of steak and it's got like some sprigs of rosemary, I think, on there, a little salt on there. And I intentionally said, let's put a little seasoning on there to show that this is not like for everybody, just pure meat, salt, and water. Now, Lion Diet or whatever you want to call it, I call it the autoimmune carnivore diet in my book, before Michaela came with the Lion Diet thing. That is a thing for a lot of people that need to do that. But I mean, like I said, I think this carnivore is just, you got to eat just raw meat all day long, every day. It's just nonsense. That's not how it was intended. And again, you have to realize that the way I see a carnivore diet as a tool, I see it as a tool to help people to get healthier. And then where you end up, it's not like it's not like there's this, it's like you're joining a religious cult and you got to do this. And if you eat, if you season your meat, you're bad or something. That's nonsense. Don't let people, kind of paint that road for you. Are there any negative health implications for having a lot of muscle, assuming it's built entirely naturally? I generally don't think so. I really don't. I mean, obviously, I'm a guy that kind of fits that description. I mean, I've got a decent amount of muscle. I've never used drugs. I think that, I mean, are you going to run as fast as somebody else? No. I mean, there's pros and cons to that. And, when you say a lot, I mean, what do you mean by that? And is it covered with a lot of fat? I mean, that's the other thing. A lot of people are like, well, I'm just big and muscular. And, you got 50 pounds extra fat on you. That's a problem. But I think if you're lean, and I mean, if, as a male, maybe sub, 15, 14, 13% body fat, somewhere in that realistic neighborhood, and you got a decent amount of muscle on you, I think that's fine for the most part. And you look at people as you get older and older, and again, I don't know how old you are, but as you get older and older, you want that muscle, you want that cushion, because if you get, you get a disease, you get a bad cold, bad infection, anything, and you just don't have that reserve, I mean, it's hard to recover from. So you want some muscle. What else we got here? Val Thayer, carnivore 76 days, went on vacation, fell off the carnivore wagon, can tell by inflammation, need to go back. Well, there you go. That's a signal. And that's what a lot of people will find. I mean, most people, this is real talk here. Most people that do carnivore will, they'll go on, they'll come off, they'll go on, they'll come off. Maybe they're 90%, 95% carnivore, 80%. That's where most people's experience. That's fine for most people, Some people prefer and need to be extremely strict, but not everybody does. And I think there's a tremendous utility in trying to do it strict for a period of time, 3 months, 6 months, whatever. You learn so much about how your body works. You learn so much about who you are, how you react to food. I think that's a very instructive thing. So I think it's a worthwhile tool. And some people just love it that way. I mean, like me, I'm generally almost always very strict carnivore. Sometimes I'll put in like right now I'm having a little dairy. Like you saw the little thing I made today on that little cooking thing. I did a little non-fat Greek yogurt, and I threw a little element electrolyte pack, which has some flavoring and a little bit of stevia. So that's not like totally strict carnivore, but it works fine for me. I don't suffer from that negatively. You know, there's reasons I'm doing that. You know, with regard to just trying to lean out a little bit. So I'm trying to preferentially do a little bit leaner protein. But yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where you just kind of find what works for you. This isn't about conforming to a certain ideology. It's about finding out what truly makes you feel and perform your best and be in your best health. And it's also got to be sustainable, right? Because I will tell you guys, you're never going to succeed on a diet if you don't like the food, if you're bored with the food, or you're hungry all the time. Those things are going to kill your ability to sustain this long term. So you got to find something that's sustainable for you. And you know, there's trade-offs, pros and cons. And I think when you get too strictly religious about it, that's where you start to potentially harm yourself. You know, there's some people that have to be disciplined. You know, and I think there's some good things about that. And just like I know. Hey man, there's you know, I walk by the friggin' donut shop and the donuts smell really good. I go in there and have one, and yeah, I mean that's great. But I mean there's some level of discipline where you say, no, I don't need to do that. I'm just not going to do that. You know, there's like I said, there's a certain amount of just, you know, minimum discipline that you need, and sometimes, but at the same time, there's a point where it's like, you know, is it making you nutty? You don't want to be there either. All right, I liked your best dad bug jokes. I thought that was kind of, you know, because, you know, you see that world's best dad. I got a keychain. In fact, I got on here, it says, my little keychain, it says, best dad ever. Yeah, the kids got me a mug and a keychain. So, I mean, if I'm the best dad ever, then no one else can be, right? I mean, that's like everybody else, you're second best or whatever, you know. I mean, obviously it's, you know, hopefully all your kids are getting your dad, but, you know, because when you're a dad, you get like, you know, socks and ties and things like that. You know, your gifts are kind of like, oh, well, thanks kids. But it's, you know, it's, you know, you don't need any of that stuff. You just need a hug from your kids. What else we got? Private doctors, that would be great, that actually do testing that isn't rigged. He should do that, would pay for that service. So I'll just take a moment. You know, as you guys know, Revero is a company that I have that we've spent so much time and effort putting together. We're so excited about that. So that Rivero will be launching end of this month. We will be accepting our first patients end of this month, early October. There'll be just a handful of them because we have to make sure everything's working real well before we open up, and then we open it up. So all 50 states in the U.S., if you want a doctor that gets carnivore, understands that, supports that, or keto, or low carb, or whatever, that's primarily focused on, you know, root cause, you know, getting people off drugs, making them actually healthy, not this friggin' here's another pill, here's another test, you know, not that stuff. I mean, we're trying to make medicine what it should be, what it was intended to be, to heal people, you know, to do that, and putting the resources into that. Because, you know, like I can tell you as a surgeon, you know, in the hospital setting I was in, it's impossible to do that because all they want you to do is see patient after patient after patient after patient. Here's Monday, you got 52 patients on your schedule. 52 patients on Monday. How am I going to see that many patients? How am I going to, I can see them, but how am I going to provide the level of care that they truly need to really help them? Well, you can focus on a very narrow problem. Hey, let me go look at your wound. I did surgery. Let me look at your arthroscopies. Oh, they're healing up good. Get out of here. But I mean, to really like, hey, if I could take time with somebody, I had an hour, you know, just to figure out what the hell's going on. You know, that's why I love doing these little consults, these little 30-minute consults where at least I can kind of talk about lifestyle because it's such an important thing, right? Anyway, Revero.com. Hopefully you guys have. What are your thoughts on taking creatine? Says Skeptical. Yeah, I mean, creatine has got some really good data behind it, right? Creatine works for a lot. You know, initially it was used as a sports supplement, but it's been shown to have positive brain health effects. It has positive cardiac benefits. It's probably got positive. It's got a lot of just positive benefits. The interesting thing about creatine is creatine naturally is occurring in meat, and you know, and the amount of meat that I eat, you know, 2, 3, 4 pounds of red meat every day, I don't need it. I don't need to supplement that stuff. And I think, I think if you're on a low meat diet, you're on a plant-based diet, for God's sake, take some creatine. It's going to help you out. So, I mean, it's a good supplement there. But for me to take it in the context of the diet I'm on now, it's kind of superfluous. It doesn't really make sense, right? All right. Let me see what time it is, guys. I'll make sure. Okay, I got another 10 minutes with you guys, and then I got to go pick up my youngest at his soccer thing. All right, we got Sarah Cameron saying, "Hi, Dr. Baker. Yes, more cooking videos, please." Question, might you be on 24-hour live stream that's coming up in a few days where did it go? I lost that question. To benefit the Carnivore Diet movie. I think so. I think I'm signed up for that. I believe, and I got to figure that out. I got a whole bunch of people that want me to do things. I've got all these different conferences and live streams, so I believe I am. So perhaps. I don't remember the time or the date. I got to check that out so I don't miss it. So, a few months to reverse years of damage is unreasonable. Although I lost 50+% of my weight in under 1 year, wow, 162 pounds lost. It was 6 months of trial and error. Cutting veggies was a key for kidneys health. Okay, I'm glad, Lisa, that you've done that. That's awesome. Wow, that's amazing. 162 pounds lost in under a year. That's pretty amazing. Good for you. So here's another one. So it says, Min, I've suffered from alopecia areata, so that's kind of an autoimmune hair loss where you have these patchy clumps of hair falling out, for over 10 years, been on carnivore for about a year and have regrown 60% of your hair. Awesome to hear. That's so awesome. Again, another autoimmune disease. It's helped with carnivore. All right, what else we got here? What is the name of that paper? Wow, I'm trying to remember which paper we're talking about now. Sorry, man, I forgot, Patrick. Somebody's asking that question. So, anyway, what else do we have here? What is the name of the machete big knife that you cut steaks with? There you go. So, I'm going to do a video. I think I'll do a little knife sharpening video. I got a really nice knife sharpener I want to tell you guys about. I think it's really cool. You might have seen it advertised, but it works actually really well. So I've got a couple knives that I use. I've got a really nice knife. I've got a knife from Cold Steel called the Cold Steel Espada XL, which is a really nice high-end knife that they sent me, which is kind of a foldable knife, but it's pretty cool. I've got a knife from Cry Knives. It's a Bowie knife or a Bowie knife, depending on your pronunciation choice. Which is a Damascus steel. And then I've got the other one that's kind of a longer one. It's kind of a bullnose knife. That you've probably seen. Looks like a little machete. It is actually just a cheapo knife from Kangshan. It was a company out of Costco. So I bought it as part of a knife set. I just got some, a cheap little set, and it was in there. And it's just a big, ridiculous looking knife. So I thought, I'm kind of a big, ridiculous guy, so works out well. So anyway, that's the deal on that. All right. Well, it's getting dark here, so I'm having a little harder time to see things right now, unfortunately. So I may have to shut this down soon. What are your thoughts on garlic salt for my primary seasoning? Much love from Guam. Depending on what's in the garlic salt, because oftentimes you have to make sure there's not about a maltodextrin and cornstarch. If it's just garlic and salt and you tolerate garlic, okay, that's fine. Probably for most people, some people don't tolerate garlic. But I would make sure, look at the ingredients on there, and you might want to just make your own, make your own seasoning, get the pure garlic and pure salt mixed together if it's got a bunch of crap in there. What about soft tissue connective injuries treated with BPC 157 injections? This is Patrick. I got to tell you, I've got zero experience with peptides, and I know that BPC 157 is one that seems to be quite popular. So I'm still skeptical that they work as advertised to the degree they do. I think there's still probably a lot of marketing hype around there. So I'm not on that bandwagon, and I may or may not be, so I am a little skeptical on that. I know there's people that push that. There's a lot of people that push a lot of things, prolotherapy and PRP injections and stem cells, and all of those, quite honestly, have turned out to be, kind of questionably working. So I'm not. I mean, there's hype, and there's people that promote the hell out of this stuff, and they say, "Oh, look at this study in a rat," and we've got some early data, and often long-term data turns out to be shitty. So you just got to be mindful of that stuff. All right, what else? Sharon Wiseman, I am 65 days carnivore, and my first blood sugars went down, 85/79, etc. Ketones 0.58, 0.5 to 0.8, but at 6 weeks, it started reversing with no dietary change. Now my sugars are 117, 129, ketones 0.1. What is the cause, says Sharon? Well, there could be a lot of things. I don't know for sure, Sharon, so I don't know for sure. I mean, again, I'm available for consults if you want to talk into detail, but some of the things that might be going on. So sometimes as we get more efficient at utilizing ketones, we don't tend to waste them, and so they don't accumulate as much in the blood, right? So that's one reason that it could be. I mean, there could be, the blood sugars. Now, again, you're talking about, and I don't know, if these are fasting blood sugar, if they're like first thing in the morning fasting blood sugars, it could be. And so there's some reasons for that. It could be as you eat carnivore, in some instances, like particularly meal timing, if you're eating late in the day, you're really not fasting anymore. So that 117, 129 might be actually a postprandial number, which is fine. It's 117 after a meal is well within the normal range. And so, again, we look at fasting numbers. And I think on a carnivore diet, depending on how much you eat and how fast your transit time is, because interestingly, just like that, the Ozempic and the semaglutide new drugs are, these GLP-1 receptor agonists, it slows down your digestion. Meat does that naturally. It has a natural slowing effect to digestion, and it's physiologically appropriate, because what we want to do is we want to extract all that nutrition out from the meat. And that's why it slows down, so we have slower gastric transit time. Whereas if you put a bunch of sugary crap in there, a bunch of fiber in there, your body's like, get this crap out of me. So it just pushes it through. All that fiber, you can't do anything with it. So it ends up in your colon, you crap it out. Whereas with meat, okay, this is good stuff. We want to make sure we extract all the nutrition from it, because we can get it out there. But they know with particularly insoluble fiber, it's like, well, there's nothing we can do with this stuff. Well, let's just push it through our guts and move it out there, because it's kind of a, and some people put that, well, that's a good thing. You got all this stuff in there you can't digest, and it cleans you out. It binds toxins, and I mean, it's kind of wishful thinking. It's just like, it's like, we don't need this crap in our guts. We're trying to get rid of it, and people try to spin that. It's like literally like politics. Like two people from different political parties can look at the exact same event, and they'll have different interpretations. One will say it's good, one will say it's bad, right? So it's the same sort of stuff. All right, guys, I gotta go. It's getting dark. I can barely read the stuff anymore. I gotta go pick up my son. It's been great talking to you. I'll do some more of these, I promise. If you want me to, let me know in the comments on regular videos what you like to see more of, because we want to be, we want to provide stuff that you guys are interested in. We want to grow the channel. We want to reach as many people as possible. I mean, selfishly, I want to grow this channel so that more people are exposed to this, so we can help more people ultimately, through what we do at Rivero and just in general. I'm just so rewarded that I find that people get healthy, and that's why I went into medicine in the first place. So, all right, guys, I'm out of here. Maximus, I'm gonna even see Maxie. It's so dark in here. Maxie, he's looking out the thing and barking at squirrels or something. Guys, you guys take care. It's good talking to you, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye, everybody.